know that politicians of all hues can stoop to any level to garner electoral benefits. This is especially true of ruling politicians. They sometimes frame policies to serve vested interests, even as they know that those policies would jeopardize the national interest. Let's discuss today the pension policy in specific terms. In the last several months, you must be hearing the buzz around the old pension scheme, let's call it OPS, and the new pension system, which is quite popular as NPS. What is the basic difference between the two, OPS and NPS? To use the official jargon, OPS is a defined benefit scheme. In this scheme, when someone retires from the government service with a monthly salary, say 1 lakh rupees, then she will be entitled to a monthly pension amounting to at least 50% of the last drawn salary, that is 50,000 rupees a month. She would also get a raise every 6 months by what is called dearness allowance. Each raise is almost always more than 4%. This is meant to cover the inflation-induced increase in the cost of living. Good, steady, assured income. This over and above the excellent medical benefits that every superannuated government official enjoys, makes the retired life of a government servant quite comfortable. But if everything was hunky-dory, then why was the policy changed? We know the policy was changed about 2 decades ago. Problem was, it was a policy which was quite comfortable for the government servants, but it was a matter of cold comfort for the rest of the population. As our retired government servants started living longer, thanks to the massive increase in the life expectancy in our country, the government found the pension bill rising to an unacceptable level. That left hardly any money with the government to do anything else except pay salaries and pensions. That's when a far-sighted leader like Atal Bihari Vajpayee took a very bold decision. His government introduced a new pension system with effect from 1st January 2004. What was this new system? It was based on what is called the defined contribution system. Remember, the old system was defined benefit system. An employee did not contribute anything but got the benefit of 50% of the last salary drawn as pension. And the entire burden was borne by the poor taxpayer. In the new system, there is no free lunch. You contribute and you get a pension. The amount of contribution was clearly defined. 10% of the basic salary by the employee, and the same 10% was added also by the government. Well, later the government increased its own contribution from 10% to 14%. And these contributions were deposited in a national pension system, which in turn was handled by pension fund managers who invested that money in variety of funds, in safe debt funds and even more adventurous equity funds, as per the wish of the employee. So the exact pension of the employee was not predetermined. It was based on market returns. And the record of the last 15 years tell us that the annual return has been between 7% for debt fund and 15% from the equity funds. So the employee managed to get 14% from the government, and if you take an average 7 to 14%, about 10% of interest thereof, it was good enough return for a government official to be happy about. But if you aspire for the old system, which give you straight 50% on the trot month after month from the government itself without you contributing anything, then of course you are bound to be disappointed. So be it. Why should the government indulge a tiny section of the population, less than 1% people, at the expense of 99% who suffer in silence in old age? Isn't it atrocious that some of these employees are now demanding that the country must return to the old pension system? These are basically selfish people. Selfish people who put self before the nation. They want to live in comfort. Let the rest go to hell. Well, the clamor of such people must be dismissed with the contempt it deserves. But it becomes a matter of agony when some ruling politicians fall prey to this unreasonable demand. Look at the governments of Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Punjab. They have all gone out of the way to pander to this small privileged section of the population. The ruling politicians there think that such populist measures should help them reverse or at least neutralize the anti-incumbency sentiment against them. The same politicians are making the same promise in the states they are not in power. They are hoping that this inducement would prompt the government officials in those states to turn the electoral tide in their favor. In the process, they just ignore the calamity that they are inviting. Just look at the statistics. In 1990-91, the outgo for the states together on account of pension was just a little over 3,000 crore. By 2020-21, this is leapfrogged to almost 4 lakh crore. In 30 years, the pension bill has gone up by more than 100%. 100 times, not 100%, 100 times, 10,000%. Imagine what would be the situation if all states switched to the old pension system. The center mercifully has not fallen into this trap because it understands the havoc the pension bill will be causing if it reverts to the old system. Already the statistics are dire. In 1990-91, the union government's pension bill was again a little over 3,000 crore. By 2020, this has gone up to a little more than 2 lakh crore. Remember the difference? In the case of states, it was also 3,000 crore in 1990. It has gone up to more than 4 lakh crore. but in case of center, it has gone up from 3,000 crore to a little over 2 lakh crore. The data suggests that successive ruling parties at the center have acted rather responsibly compared to the states. The states, in fact, the opposition-ruled states today are going berserk in the quest of political power. They are ready to ignore the financial ruin in the long term as they are focused only on political power in short term. All thinking people in the country must speak in unison to denounce these leaders who have already moved to the old pension system and those who are planning to do this in near future. We must be thankful to Praveen Chakravarty, the head of the Congress Data Analytic Department, for raising the issue with his own party, the Congress, and also with the Aam Aadmi Party, which have been promising a return to the old pension system in Gujarat if they came to power in the assembly elections next month. Praveen Chakravarty has made his case with data, telltale data, that Gujarat has a population of 6.5 crore, out of which around 3 lakh people are in government service. That works out to just about 0.5%. But if the old pension scheme is adopted, that would entail an expenditure of 15% of the tax revenues garnered in the state. He asks, why should 0.5% of the privileged people get 15% of the taxpayers' money for their post-retirement benefit? In fact, the data is more disturbing when it comes to some other states which have opted for the old pension system. Look at Rajasthan. The old pension system will cost 30% of its own tax revenue. In Chhattisgarh, it will be 24%, but in Punjab, it's a whopping 35%. Isn't it criminal that less than 1% of government servants will walk away with 35% of state revenue in pension alone? It is sheer criminality. We must expose these criminals who are masquerading as politicians.